Hi guys, I am so glad to be here with you today. I wanted to have a conversation with you about um, the biggest challenges in a transition to natural solutions. And I have come to figure this out for myself. I've been using essential oils now for about 2 years. And if you've seen the video with my story, then you know that my journey to using essential oils was both a long one and in some ways kind of complicated. I had a lot going on in my life health-wise, still do, in my family. And so I really put essential oils through the intellectual grinder, so to speak, before transitioning to utilizing them. But over the years, as I've helped other people venture into using essential oils as a natural solution, there's some things that I've seen, and I see it in my own life over and over in this cycle. And the interesting thing is I find myself constantly coming back to using essential oils. But I think for those of us on this team that have actually stepped out and started using essential oils, there's a few things that we discover as we kind of go on this journey. And so I wrote out a couple of lists, just a short list of some things that I wanted to share as a way of encouraging you on this journey, because I found myself kind of in the same position. So this episode, I suppose you can say, this little check-in, team check-in, is more about the biggest challenges in a transition to natural solutions usage. And this is applicable to probably massage as well, any kind of fitness change that you're trying to make in your life. But I know that this has been especially true for me in using essential oils. First of all, is this understanding that the natural solutions as a form of health care and wellness it's a lifestyle change. I think that most of us look at the medical profession, like if we're in the medical profession, that is our lifestyle. But in the world that we live in, modern medicine is there to help us when things go bad. And I am so thankful for it. I mean, I spent countless days in a hospital as a child because of my respiratory disease that I have. I've been in the hospital with my son because of the same issue. I mean, we are on lots of different modern medications because we have to be in order to stay alive. But I'll tell you something, modern medicine isn't everything, and I am so thankful for essential oils in my life. But I'll tell you that we tend to approach medicine from the terms of a defensive, like, oh my gosh, I need to fix this right now kind of a situation, as opposed to what natural solutions are, which is kind of a holistic way of looking at wellness. It's looking at personal responsibility, preventative measures, but also ways to help support yourself even when you're utilizing modern medicine. And so there are definitely challenges that come with a culture that is highly focused on traditional forms of medicine per se. One of the things that I realized as I was getting to know my teammates and listening to people discuss their wellness journey is one of the biggest challenges that come with a transition to natural medicine is unrealistic expectations. I have seen a number of really excited women, and primarily women. Men tend to be really skeptical of this sort of thing. They, at least in my experience, the men that I've encountered, and I know they're not all like that. My husband was actually in essential oils before I was, so I know that they're not all like that. But in my experience, most of my clientele has up to this point been women. They're super excited. They obviously see this absence or this need in their lives, and they're like, wow, essential oils absolutely are amazing. They can totally help with this area. Not only are we talking about physical health, but emotional health, mental health. I mean, they are incredible, super excited, and they order their kits and they wait anxiously and they get them in the mail. And 3 months later, 4 months later, they haven't ordered anything, not even just from me, themselves. They haven't ordered anything. They have this box of essential oils sitting on their counter, collecting dust, and several different things start running through their minds. And eventually they end up with this: essential oils are not for me, or I just don't have time. And eventually they give it away or they throw it away, and their foray into trying to utilize this amazing, powerful tool ends up by the wayside. And who knows, in the future they may come back to that. But as I've been watching these things, I've been just like, what happened in my own life that I experienced sort of these same things. And so these three things that I'm going to share with you, actually I pulled out of my own hat. I don't ever know what anyone's individual expectations are, experiences are, but I know what mine were, and I know what my challenges are. And so I'm making the assumption that some of the similar things that I dealt with, you guys deal with. So number one, unrealistic expectations. This involves being discouraged or impatient. And usually what that means is that we usually have an issue in mind when we take on essential oils. We could have maybe had that one experience where a friend gave us an essential oil and we used it and we're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Like, how did that happen? I thought these things were just hokey. I didn't realize they actually worked. Who knows? Number of things. I've done them all. Or we just see and we experience at the class that we're at, and we hear this knowledge and this education that are coming out of these women who have really studied the subject, and that they love the oils. Or we've done a lot of our own research to a certain extent, and we finally like, yeah, we're going to do this, and we get our essential oils, and we something comes up. And we use it that first time and we're super excited and it smells amazing, or as the case may be, it does not smell good at all, but so-and-so said this was good for this condition. And we kind of wait for that like kick in. When you have this major headache and you take 3 freaking ibuprofen and then 30 minutes later you're like, I feel great, right? You don't have that kind of pain anymore. And so we kind of have this expectation of essential oils to behave very much like the over-the-counter. And frequently, I would dare to say, frequently or almost always, they don't behave the way that an over-the-counter medication would behave. Or, sometimes they're faster. It depends on if you find the right chemistry with your body, the right oil. Sometimes it's better than an over-the-counter. But a lot of times, people are expecting that these essential oils are going to behave and function very much like an over-the-counter. The other thing that happens is they try to use them the same way that they would an over-the-counter, right? You have a headache, and so you take a pill. You can only do that once every 4 hours. And if that doesn't work, you go try something else. And so we'll pull out our essential oil and we apply it like where we think we're supposed to, and that's it for the 4 hours, and we still have a headache, and then or we get impatient with it and we're just like, screw it, I need something now. I do that sometimes. Like today, my struggle has been I'm having growing pains or aching from my shoulder all the way down to my wrist. And I think that has a lot to do with my job. I do a lot of typing. And I was sleeping on my arm weird last night, and my fingers are weird. And so, I think I need to go get adjusted. Another form of natural solutions, right? It is medical care, but it's also not traditional. They consider it, an experimental. And I know chiropractors hate when that's used because it's way beyond experimental now. Like it legitimately, there's scientific data that it helps you. But I'm having these aching, and one of the things that I was so tempted to do was just run into my kitchen and grab some ibuprofen and take it. Now we do have ibuprofen because sometimes it's necessary. But let me tell you, we usually use our essential oils first. And so what I did is I went and I grabbed some Deep Blue and I slathered up my arm, and it's definitely feeling a little bit better. It's not just that persistent ache. And it's a lot in my wrist right now, and so I'm gonna get some, guess what? I did that about 30 minutes ago. I'm gonna go get some more Deep Blue and I'm gonna put that on my wrist here in a minute. Just to utilize the care and the benefits of essential oil without the nasty side effects of giving myself some ibuprofen. So a lot of times we have unrealistic expectations. And what I'm going to try to do in that, I say I'm going to try, what I will be doing in this group as I kind of flesh out how this group is going to function is to kind of let you guys know what to expect. Let's talk about how essential oils work. Let's talk about, this thing called synergy with the body. What the heck does that mean? That kind of sounds weird. What are we talking about? Why does that one collection or situation, why do these oils work for one person and then these ones don't seem to work so well for me? What are the differences? How do essential oils work and what can I expect with them? The other thing that happens, which I've experienced in my own life, is there's this great excitement, but there's a lack of knowledge, complete lack of knowledge. So we get our kits and they're sitting on our counter, and we decided maybe to go with the natural solutions because we wanted to experience a wider range of products from doTERRA, to experience how, utilizing this hand wash or this essential oil as opposed to these other kind of more toxic products are in our home. We want to see how they work. But here we are, and the only ones I really experienced at the class were like these two. And so I use them frequently, but I don't really know what to expect. I don't know what to expect, number one, but I'm excited and I don't know how to use them. In modern medicine, if you go get ibuprofen or you go get Tums, essentially they are good for one kind of symptom or one kind of issue. Ibuprofen is an anti-inflammatory, but it's great for pain associated with inflammation. I mean, and I'm not a doctor, and I don't read the whole list of things that it does, good or bad. But usually in our minds, we associate ibuprofen or Tylenol with pain relief. Tums is for heartburn or indigestion. Pepto-Bismol is for like major gastrointestinal distress, amongst a few other things. Like you have your certain medicine cabinet full of these particular products for these particular issues. Essential oils are vastly different, and that an individual essential oil can be good for multiple different situations and issues. They affect the brains a certain way. So not only do you have like a physical application for an essential oil, but you also can have an emotional and mental application for an essential oil. Not only is this particular essential oil great in your water, but you can also use it to get goo off of your whiteboard. Literally what I was doing not long ago, because I was using stickies on it, and so now there's like glue that's stuck on there. So you're using it both, an essential oil, both in what would be considered a medicinal wellness application, but also in an industrial application of, washing your kitchen floor or cleaning your windows. And so the thing about an essential oil is we often just restrict them to the one thing. And so they may sit on our counter because we have no idea what else to do with it. We don't know how else it can be used. And so we don't use them. We have a lack of knowledge. And for some of us, we don't know where to go to learn it other than the person who originally introduced you to essential oils. And even if we know who to go to, we frequently don't. I can tell you from experience, like there's a handful of people that will ask my opinion about how to utilize essential oils, but most frequently there's no communication with me at all about it. And it's my hope that people are reaching out to other sources around them, books or videos online, reliable videos online, the doTERRA training tools, which are extensive on the doTERRA website, to be finding that information and utilizing them, for themselves. You don't always have to come to me, but I am a fantastic resource for that. So we're also going to be exploring how to use your essential oils. And while I will go ahead and give certain classes and tutorials, my goal here is to empower you to know where to go to find the information that you need. Whether it's book resources or video resources or podcast resources, a lot of those things I had to find for myself. Definitely our upline team is a fantastic group of women who they know a lot. Many of them have been involved with doTERRA from the very beginning, and they've experienced a lot of training and then a lot of years using essential oils. There's a reason why people use them for years and years, and I can tell you it is because they work. They're a very, they're such a valuable resource to myself and my family in many, many different ways, and I can't imagine life without them. And I can tell you right now that we go through seasons where I get super busy, and really it's impatience that drives me, not necessarily lack of knowledge, but impatience. Sometimes I'm just like, man, I got to run out the door. I don't have time to, apply all my essential oils right now, or I don't want to take them all with me when I go, which is why I'm starting to utilize the touch rollers a lot more, or making fast rollers that I can stick in my bag and take with me. Different ways of taking my oils with me on the go has been extremely important. I'm a busy mom. I got a job. I need things at certain times, and I have a doTERRA bag where I have my little oil slots, or you can get a little container to carry them in. But knowing how to use them is extremely important, knowing in what situations to use them. And so we're going to be working on some of that. Not only just teaching you some of the basics, but also showing you where to go to look and find resources. The other thing that I have found is lack of support slash a surplus of opposition. Lack of support meaning not so much that it doesn't exist as much as we don't reach out for it. Let's say we have this box sitting on our counter with these essential oils on it and in it, and we really, a lot of times I hear mom say, and I hear myself say, I don't have time. I don't have time to learn that right now. Really, it's very simple. Just like you would, the thing is that we take a lot of things for granted. We don't learn things. I do. Like, I'm totally guilty of getting this medication from my doctor, and I never read through the sheet. I don't know what the side effects are. I don't know, and this came home to roost when we were researching a medication for really the first time ever, that our doctor, our pediatrician, was referring for my son, and she was doing it with the utmost caution because this particular medication can be very detrimental to young children. And so the reason I was researching it is because she had been super hesitant over the past few years of us trying to deal with this certain disease that he has. And she's finally, and I don't want to say it even, it's not really a disease, it's more like a disability that he has, and he needs medication to help him to manage it. But he's been having trouble with his weight, completely and totally falling off the growth curve for his age. And so she's like, it's either no medication or this option. And so my husband and I, for the first time, really sat down and researched this medication. And I was completely and totally shocked by some of the things that this said. This can happen, and this can happen, and this is the risk, and this is what this means. And I had never done that before. Usually I was just like, the doctor says it's fine, they recommended it, okay, great. But here's the other thing that I found out while researching this medication. I found out that it can make my child moody and irritable. And I would always wonder why I was having such trouble with my child over the past few weeks and months that he's been on his medication again after summer, why I was having such a problem with his attitude. Can I tell you something? Since we took him off that medication, because we did elect to just take him off medication entirely and to use natural solutions now we were using them sort of before, but because we didn't want any kind of clashing with his meds, we would only use them in the evening. But now we're very fully using natural solutions to assist him because he has no medications at all. I have had less issue with his attitude now that we've taken him off his meds, and he's been off his meds for about 2 weeks, than I had before. And I had no idea. Now, essential oils could have helped that, but I didn't take the time to even bother to read about this medication. And you can tell me I'm a bad mom, and I would probably be like, you are totally wrong. But I was busy, and I trusted my healthcare providers. And I think your healthcare provider would say, don't do that. Please read the directions. And sometimes what we gain is worth what we risk. But in this case, I think that we tend to quickly turn to something without, looking at it, one, or two, if we don't know, we don't go look. And so when I'm talking about essential oils, the lack of support, or rather we don't reach out for that support that's there, we stop trying. We don't know where to go to get help to use our resources, and so we don't look. Or a surplus of opposition. Like I said, a lot of females, a lot of women have come and tried to be this catalyst of change in their families. And while there are I'm sure thousands and thousands of men out there who are the same for their wives, like my husband was for me. A lot of times wives get pushback from their husbands. Their husbands don't feel like they that it works, number one, that they need it, number two, they themselves don't bother to research it, and they buy into the it's just this kind of this dichotomy and this tension between modern medicine and what's considered experimental or traditional medicine. But thankfully, because of the hard work by doTERRA and by third-party testing institutions and research facilities like the Vanderbilt Medical Center and Johns Hopkins, amongst others. There's cancer institutes in Utah and in lots of other places that are pioneering utilizing essential oils in a modern medical setting. I'm so excited about that. That gap is starting to close. This kind of, no, you're either this person or you're this person, and you either buy into this or you buy into this. No, but they're finding integrative ways to utilize both medicines. But a lot of times we have people that are very much like, no, it's not for me. I'm just going to do this because this is fast and easy, not realizing what they're leaving on the table, what they're throwing in the garbage, or what they're giving to their friend, or what they consider to be just little bottles of water, essentially, in their minds, because they don't realize the chemistry and the power that's there. We don't reach out for support because we're just like, I don't have time for that. We don't go to classes. We don't got time for that. Totally guilty. Or we get frustrated with this lack of support that we receive by the people that we're trying to help. And, if it's someone as powerful and influential in our family as our spouse, then oftentimes people throw in the towel because it's like a money thing, or it's just an inconvenience, or there's no interest at all in learning it and utilizing it and implementing it. And I can tell you, as a mom right now, trying to make major changes in your family without the support of your spouse is really like trying to climb Mount Everest in bare feet. Like, you totally could do it, but most likely not. It's very, very difficult, and sometimes it's not worth it. And then you have to figure out a different way to at least make that change for yourself. And so when in this group, we're going to talk about where to reach out for that support. And then I want to be able to provide you as the team with different avenues for learning, where to reach out for support, different opportunities for you to bring your spouse. I think I'm reminded of this verse in the Bible, which absolutely, and let me tell you right now from a theological standpoint, has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm going to use it for, but it's just a terminology that's true regardless of whether you're talking about faith or not, that people perish for the lack of knowledge. Those husbands and wives out there that we love to bits don't know what they're missing out on. They don't know what they don't know. And we can't force them. We love them to death, but their choices are their choices. But what if there was an opportunity for us to bring our spouse to learn about essential oils? One of the things that I my husband is totally on board with essential oils, but what I would love is for him to be able to attend a class that's essential oils for men. Like, how do you utilize essential oils as a man? Some of them are super floral, but a lot of them are not. They're like woodsy and dry, and my husband loves them. But how do you use them? How do you use them in a work setting? How do you use them if you're a truck driver or a diesel mechanic, or you're a man's man? How do you utilize essential oils in a man's man setting? Are there products that you can use? I think stress relief is a huge one for my husband. And for our wives, what are the things that women in our lives need, and what can essential oils do for them in these seasons and these conditions and with these physical struggles? And so I want to be able to offer that for you also. And so I know that around the Kalispell area, I know some of you are not from here, and so I am really going to strive to really kind of realize and locate where my team is, and then provide opportunities for you to reach out to a local support group there. But honestly, there's so much available online on the interwebs. a lot of my training happened online. I was self-taught. I mean, I had a great upline and I attended a lot of classes, but a lot of that was introductory stuff. How do you use how do you use essential oils? No, aromatic, put it on your body, topical, things like that. That I'm like, great, this is how you use it, but I want to know more about it. And I don't know if you can see my shelf here. I'll see if you can turn and see my shelf here. I have a lot of resources, essential oil resources up here that I utilized learning about essential oils and learning how to use them. And like one of my favorites is this essential oil safety. It talks a lot about the beginnings of these testing of essential oils and their safeties and they're not their safeties and their different chemical components and what they're good for. And by no means am I a master of this at all. But I love having that. I love having that reference there, and I read through it. I mean, I won't pull it out because then my whole bookshelf will be off. But there's sticky notes all around through there about things that I read when I first started about the safety of essential oils because I have children. So those are usually the 3 challenges. And so to close, I realize this has been a little bit more of a class, you know, a little discussion. Which of these 3 are you? Which of the 3 are you? And even if you still use essential oils, I think we can identify an area where we tend to struggle in this natural solutions. Now, you may be like on top of the world. You may have the support of your spouse. You may have a great support system, and you might be really flourishing in your natural solutions lifestyle. And kudos to you. You and I need to get together because I need to talk to you and figure out what your secret is. But which one are you? Is it the unrealistic expectations? You know, maybe, you know, you're super excited about utilizing essential oils, or you were, but since then you're just like, I don't know, I don't have time. I don't know even where to go to look. Or maybe you're just like, I'm really excited. I kind of know how to do it, but I'm really struggling with opposition, people making fun of you. Just something that isn't common and isn't socially always accepted can come. You can get some pushback about that. Maybe it's from your healthcare provider. Maybe it's from your spouse. Maybe it's from your family that's like, oh, you do that thing, that oils, you know, wow. Or people are like, oh man, you totally don't smell good all the time. And you know, you just like, well, you know, not every smell is going to smell good. So how do you use essential oils without offending everybody around you? But which one are you? And if you're feeling brave and you want to comment below, then do that. And this is a safe place. No one's going to judge you here because all of us have one of these 3 things, you know, that we're dealing with. And then we'll see what we can do to get a solution to you. But I really wanted to address this issue because I see it a lot and I feel so discouraged for these people because I know in my own life that when I've conquered one of these or I've found a solution to one of these, and I always go back to essential oils, man alive, I'm like, why in the world why didn't I do this before? Like, why did I allow this to discourage me in this quest? And you know what, I learn more and I utilize it for more things. And like I said, I always come back. I always come back to it. And when I don't have them, I definitely miss them. Like when we run out of past tense and I have a rip-roaring headache and I've taken a gazillion Tylenol and it's just not doing what I need it to do. Or it's that moment when your mother shows up at your house and she has this terrible migraine because she suffers from migraines and her migraine medicine is at the house. Her doctor prescribed migraine medicine and you're like, I have essential oils that I can let you try. True story. And so she came over and she was like, man, it's starting to brew. I was going to come over and hang out for a while, but I couldn't. I need to go home and get my meds. And I said, here, I'd love for you to try this. And I put peppermint on the hot spots on her head, which sometimes works for me, but mostly not. She tried past tense, but past tense didn't really help her all the time. But I said, where are the hot spots? If you had to point to pain on your head, where would it be? Peppermint. Okay, I put peppermint in those spots. And then I had her take an internal pill of both Copaiba and the adaptive, because both of Copaiba is great for pain management amongst other things, and tension, which was going to help her, and 2, our adaptive is our mental health, and everything about it is like buku awesome for the brain. And I had her take one of each of those. and gave her a big glass of water. And she sat in here and quiet, and she decompressed a little bit in this very chair. And about 30 minutes later, she's like, wow, I just feel so much better than I did when I came in. It's actually kind of going away. And so I said, oh, I'm so glad to hear that. She hung out for another hour and a half until my little sister called and was like, where the heck are you? And before she left, I gave her another. I gave her Copaiba and an adaptive. Grant this, not like 2.5, like an hour and a half later than when she'd taken them previously, because it's not a modern medicine. There's no disadvantage to taking it that close in time. And I said, you know, at least we can just kind of give you another boost, your body, another boost of whatever it needs that it's utilizing. And just seeing that and experiencing that with her, and having it like this modern medicine that it helps her with her migraines, but it causes her a lot of other problems. And then being able to see this natural solution work for her, and have these great other side effects of feeling relaxed and just soothed, and, you know, all of the great kind of things that come from utilizing essential oils. So, you know, we always come back home to roost. We always come back to our essential oils. And I just really want to encourage those of you that have tried, and maybe your essential oils are still sitting on your bed somewhere, under your bed somewhere, or on your shelf somewhere, or maybe you threw in the towel and you're like, nah, dude, that's just, I can't do it. I don't have time for it. Or maybe, you know, you're having emotional issues that you're just like, I've gone to a therapist and I've done all these things and they want to put me on these different meds and nothing seems to work for me, and you're discouraged. You know, essential oils for that also. There's so much available. So thank you so much for being with me and for watching this class. Hopefully I'll be able to condense this down in the text, because I feel like when we talk, we should have a conversation. And so I talk to you like I would talk to if you were sitting across from me. And so the videos tend to be a little bit longer, but I'll try to condense this down in text so that you can read it also if you don't have time to watch. But thank you so much for hanging out, and be looking for more content. Bye.